Hello, my name is Mike Pfaff, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. Now, as usual on our little board here, we have the model that we ended up with in our last video. And we will do a review of this video, of this model, before we go on to our topic for this video. And this will be the greater part of it. So, this is what we talked. Today we're having a little green tea with jasmine. And it was in a gift box from my grandson. So it's very nice. Now, this is our model, and this was our subject last time. Warning, contrary to popular belief, your senses perceive nothing. Your senses perceive nothing. Because that's the kind of belief in the egoic world. And our language reinforces that process. Because we say, well, my senses tell me things. I saw it with my 2 eyes. I heard it with my ears. I touched it with my hand. No, you didn't do none of that stuff. That's all an illusion. But you believe you did. And so that's why we have this model. And what it is recognizing everything is in this field of everything. Everything comes out of this. And we related this to the all, because it's everything and it's infinite. We also related it to consciousness, and we made the assumption consciousness is fundamental. So this is what we started off with, recognizing that our senses, these were our senses, our 5 senses here, are picking up information from this infinite field of undulating and moving and reestablishing itself energy fields interacting. And that's what this is, or consciousness. Now, the senses, magnificent instruments, but that's all they are instruments. And the senses pick up information from this infinite field. And we pick 3 points, arbitrary, in the outside energy system. And these points are radiating information that the senses are picking up. And the senses bring that information in, and it is chaotic, raw, meaningless data as the senses receive it. Now, a lot of stuff goes on in the senses. I treat it as a black box. Magnificent as they are, they take information in and they extract information out the other end. They take it in one form and bring it out in another form, electromagnetic and chemical signals that are sent, and it's chaotic, has no meaning, as the senses transmit the information, and then our mind, through the belief system, takes that information and filters through it to determine what part of it is meaningful for you. I mean, in your world. And so your subconscious mind, based on your belief system, is filtering through this input of raw data and trying to make sense of it. So it throws out what doesn't make sense, just throws it out, drops it out the bottom, and you end up on the other side of that filtering process with meaningful information that you create your world from. How easy is that? And we recognize that out here, point A is going to have a relationship in your world, a point A inside, but it will be different than this A. And B and C, same thing. Why is it different from this? You filtered it out. You took out information that didn't mean anything to you. You filtered out stuff you had no reference to, and you ended up with things that matched your belief system. And so from that matched data, you create your world. And then you project that created inside world onto this outside energy system. And these A, B, and C, which are not the same as these A, B, and C, but will have references to them so that when you flop this out here, they're going to line up. And so your inside world will appear to match the outside energy system, and you will say, well, there we go. We have an outside objective world, and not recognize that it's your creation. Now we looked at, so here's person 1, and then we did the same thing for person 2, and we did the same thing for person 3. And each one of these will be different. Each one of these worlds from these 3 people will be different. That's what we talked about. The senses don't tell you anything. They don't perceive anything. They don't analyze anything. They don't select what they're looking at or what information they receive. They just take in information that they're designed to do. That's all. It is this deeper part of you, your subconscious mind and your belief system, that takes this meaningless outside information and makes meaning out of it for you. And from that, you create your world. And if there were 3 people standing next to each other, looking at the same infinite field of everything, they each would have a different world. And why? They got a different filtering system. They have different life experiences. They have different ways of seeing the world that they have created. Now, we're going to go on with another subject, our subject for today. And so, right now, we're going to make a small transition. And this is our subject for today. Now, if you look real close, it's the same model. If you look real close, it's the same topic, except this is part 2. The only difference is part 2, because after I finish the last video, and by the way, I'll reference that last video because it would be helpful to look at it. So my studio is in my living room in a My whole living room I turned into a studio. So I have a recliner in there, and I was sitting in the recliner, and I was looking at the board, and I says, well, there's more in here that I didn't mention that I wish I would have. So I'm going to do that in this session. So bear with me, and we'll do a little bit more. Last video, I forgot to reference A Course in Miracles, and we'll use the same one so in this one. So I hope I don't forget it. Now, here's what we have. We have the same thing, except now we have this person one comes over here and absorbs through this process of filtering through that belief system of this person, creates a world. And this world now is projected on here, except this is a mental world. It's inside. You create it inside. There's nothing physical. There's no physical things. And then you project that mental creation onto this. So there's nothing real here. None of the objects that you create in your world at this particular time, when the senses are looking in that moment, it's all mental. And in there are all your objects. And therefore, I want you to begin to recognize none of your objects are objective. They are all subjective. They are all, you see, we think there's matter. And so the objects are made out of matter that we touch. We touch nothing. There's only energy out here. We create them in here through the process that we talked about of filtering, of your belief system. And then you make a world. Every moment you make a world. And that world here is a memory. So this world is a memory, memory. I could have done a better job, but you'll have to remember. That's a memory. And it is, now when you project this on here, this is a memory of what you created. And this is not real. This is a mental picture in your mind. Because the universe, the all, is mental. That's the first principle of the Hermetic principles of self-mastery. And we don't look at it. See, well, because we're looking for matter. Haven't found any matter. We've been looking for a long time. And we find energy that we interpret as an object. But when you take that and you begin to dissect it, you begin to find out what's in it. And sooner or later, you end up having to put pieces into the Hadron Collider, and you smash them together, you get energy. Haven't found any matter. But we are so convinced in the illusion that there's matter. And we have, and so that's our belief system. And so that's why when we create our world in here, we project it out here, and we believe, well, there's an objective world. No, what you think is an objective world is your creation inside. And in that moment, you create a memory of that world that you think is out here. Now that memory, where do you store it? Where is it kept? How can you retrieve it? How many memories do you have? Now let's think a little bit more on this. So now, this is person one. This is a rendering. You render this. These senses are not transmitting a world to you. They're transmitting specific data on visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. It's data. What makes it a world? You do. And that's your rendering. And from that rendering, you make a memory. And someplace you store that memory. So you have, excuse me, whiteboard, you have this world. Now, when you stop rendering this world, this all goes away. And then your senses, because this field changes, it undulates, it moves around. It's never the same. And so now you got new information. In the next moment, you have new information to your senses, which I relate to tracks of information, like my editing program. And all you don't have a world. You just have information, static information. And you bring it over here, you filter it, you manipulate it, you throw out what you don't watch, throw out what you don't like, you keep what you want, and you render another world. So in the next moment, you have another world that I called two, or person two in the last video. But it's you. It's your belief system. It's different information. And so your rendering is different. And you have a different memory. Now, where do you store that memory? Well, we don't know. And then, in the next moment, you stop rendering this world because this changes. Your senses pick up different information. You filter it through the same thing. You create, in the next moment, a world three. And you have a memory of three. And then when you stop rendering this, you render another moment, and another one, and another one, and another one. You stream this information and create this world inside that you believe is outside. So you're looking around and you're seeing trees and you're seeing grass and you're seeing grasshoppers and you're seeing everything. Everything is your creation. Everything. When you see a plane in the sky, you created it. When you see cars on the road, whatever it is, you're creating it. You are the creator. And you render it, and then you render another one, and then you render another one. And then when you look at the moon, and you render the moon, and then you look away, what happens to the moon? Now, this is real out here. Real from the standpoint that it's something. It's energy. It's consciousness. So there's something out here. The illusion is, it's not what you think it is. That's the illusion. See, the illusion says, it's like, the if you ever seen a magic show, it's like the illusionist distracts you. All your senses get distracted. This all gets, and you create something in here. It's not the same as this. You create something in here, A, B, and C, based upon this, but you never, never, never see this. You never render this. You have no idea what's outside of you. Not one. The only idea you have is what you create in here that I have said is your best guess. Your best guess based upon your belief system and the input from your senses. This is a guess. Now, how close it is to this infinite field and what's going on out here, that's another story for another time. So let us see what A Course in Miracles says. I don't want to forget it this time. And you'll see it up here. But this is what it says. He always perceives this world as outside himself, for it is critical to his adjustment. He does not realize that he makes this world, for there is no world outside of him. Now let's take a look at that. This is the world that you create. Just like it says, this is what you're perceiving. Because you're making it off of this process that I call the standard model for the illusion. And then you take this and you believe that it's out here. Now it says that it's critical to your adjustment. Why is it critical to have the world out here? Because that is the egoic belief that you are programmed in. When you begin to recognize this is where the world is, there's no world out here. If you're not prepared for that, it's going to be very scary. So it's for your adjustment, it's for your transition that you recognize this is only inside of you. And out here is only energy, is the infinite field of everything, the all consciousness. If you want to say God, feel free, but I call it consciousness. So that's what we got. And without you, this world doesn't exist. Without you, this world doesn't exist. Now, when we related this to three different people, world one existed because of person one. World two related because of person two. If person two wasn't there, the world isn't. This world is not there. That's the way it is. So without you, the world that you perceive around you isn't there. There is no world out here except what you create for you based on your belief system, your past experiences, your life experiences from in the womb, starting in the womb, all the way up to present. And without you, it's not there. Now, so that's what we talked about. And that's what it is. And you, in every moment, are creating memories. And even you have now a memory of me starting this video. Where did it start? How come you can retrieve it? Oh, there's much to talk about here in the illusion. Now, I wanted to point something out that maybe people weren't too sure of. So when you watch this channel, and I'll put it up here because I want you to be able to see it. This channel is not here to make it easy for you to live in the illusion, or to show you how to thrive in the illusion. That's not why the channel's here. It is here to challenge the illusion, encourage you to think differently, and to transition into a new understanding. It is truly a process of rebirthing. If that's too heavy for you to think about, maybe you need to go to another channel. I hate to say that because there are some people that are very much concerned and involved in this and are looking forward to a new birth, an awakening from where they are. If that's your goal, stick around, because my goal is to challenge your current beliefs and to begin to form inside of you doubts about the world you live in. Oh, there's much to talk about here in the illusion. And until I see you again, and we'll still be here in the illusion. You can't leave it. You're here, you can't leave it. But there is a lot we can do while we're here. So look forward to seeing you next time here in the illusion. Bye now.